David Hearn certainly enjoyed a wonderful year, his best season as a professional golfer on the PGA Tour. And Jason, he wasn't the only story, the only good story amongst professional golfers coming from north of the 49th. There was a lot of good stories about Canadian golfers this year. What stood out for you?
Well, first and foremost, it would be Nick Taylor winning in his 4th start as a PGA Tour member. Taylor earned his card last year through the Web.com Tour Finals. He's a player with tremendous talent. He's a player who had a great amateur career, but I don't think a lot of us thought he was going to win so quickly out of the gate. I mean, 4 tournaments in is very impressive. And I realize that it was in Mississippi and it wasn't a strong field, but a win on the PGA Tour is a win on the PGA Tour. And I think Taylor's win kind of got underplayed and under-celebrated a little bit just because of the time of year it came at, but it was nonetheless very important and huge for his career.
It's only been a dozen players from Canada win on the PGA Tour, so anytime you can win at any tournament that's a PGA Tour sanctioned event, it's a big event. I think the fact that we just had 6 players who played on the PGA Tour this year was a big statement for Canadian golf. They all sort of performed in different levels, but certainly to have them all make it out there and participate each week. We had, I think, 2 or 3 tournaments this year where all 6 were in the field. So I think that in itself was also very good. Obviously, there's a big story in women's golf, and that's probably the highlight of the year, I think, in terms of Canadian golf.
Yeah, I mean, you can't not talk about Brooke Henderson. She had a sensational rookie year on the LPGA Tour, and she wasn't even a member of the LPGA Tour until she won an event in Portland, but that didn't deter her whatsoever. She played on the Symetra Tour, she won there. She played a mini tour, she won there. She made use of her sponsors' exemptions and her Monday qualifying entries on the LPGA Tour to keep posting top 10s, top 5s, and then not only does she win in Portland, she blows away the field in Portland. And finally, the LPGA Tour gave her full playing status. She's going to be one to watch next year. She's doing well in the majors. The sky's the limit for Brooke Henderson. I
had an interesting conversation with Stacey Lewis not too long ago, who said that once Brooke Henderson actually figures out how to play a golf course instead of just doing what she's doing right now on sheer guts, she's really going to be dangerous out there. So certainly something to watch. The young Canadian women weren't the only ones, though, who were performing well. Obviously, lots of great stories for young Canadian golfers when you look at the play of Adam Svensson and Taylor Pendrith and Albin Choi. And, of course, Corey Connor started things off by playing in the Masters this year. Quite an achievement he was still an amateur at that point, but he's made the transition to professional. I can't remember as good a crop of young Canadian men players right now as we have out on the tours right now.
Well, and even if there was a perceived good crop, they didn't post the results that this crop did. And you mentioned several players there. Taylor Pendrith finished 3rd on PGA Tour Canada, the Mackenzie Tour Order of Merit. That means he's going to have status at least to start the year on the Web.com Tour next year, so that's huge for his development. Players like Adam Svensson and Albin Choi through the Mackenzie Tour, they get a pass right through to the final stage with a good chance of winning or at least joining the Web.com Tour. One guy we haven't talked about at all is Eugene Wong, who won on PGA Tour China and was well up on the money list and looked assured of getting a Web.com Tour card. And right behind him on the money list, Justin Shin, who's also performing well. So we could have 2 Canadians join the Web.com Tour by playing overseas in China.
And let's not, I know we've given a lot of attention to Brooke Henderson, but let's not forget some of the young women playing on the Symetra Tour too. Augusta James, Maud-Lemie LeBlanc, Samantha Richdale, all having solid seasons. And also on the LPGA Tour, Elena Sharp has had just about her best year as a professional, played very, very well, won a lot of money. She says she was actually inspired by the play of Brooke Henderson, so good for Elena Sharp as well. Lots of Canadian stories to come, I'm sure, in 2015 and 16. The rest of 2015 and 16, we'll be following them here at SCOREGolf.